Okay, I'd like to call the June meeting to order with the salute to the flag, please. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we need those fans on right now? They're kind of noisy. It's not that.
The air conditioner?
Was that what's making the noise?
Yeah, it's not these. Shit on?
Yeah.
We're good?
Yeah, right.
All right.
It's on.
Backup plan.
There you go.
So can we turn
Do you have
that air
backup plan
conditioner
going?
on?
I think it's
All
fine.
right.
Okay.
I do.
Who wants to stay cool?
I should be back.
Yeah, stay
for
cool.
new hearing aids and
Okay, let's get started this evening with the prior town board minutes.
Move to approve.
Do you have a correction?
I mentioned it to everybody beforehand, and Tracy's already made it, so that's part of what's already.
Okay.
Just for, well, for the audience might want to, we had, last month, we had a motion made to use funds from the highway equipment reserve to pay for a new truck, and we're adding in, or stimulus funding, because we're expecting to get about the amount that we need for the truck from the stimulus from the state and federal government. And the reason that I wanted to put that in there is because if somebody audits us and says, well, we didn't use that money for this, so they want it back, this way, we will use it.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, move on to the clerk report. Tracy, please.
got one.
All right.
Planning board deposits, hot site plan review, $75, Virgin Solar site plan review, $200, Crawford and Associates lot line application, $100, dog licenses to the town, $2.50, community house rental, $100, building permits, $3,470.10, certificate of occupancy, $250, town clerk fees, vital statistics, death certificate copies, $120, vital statistics, marriage certified copy, $10, interest, 2 cents. Total for the general fund was $4,327.62. Trust and agency, Virgin Solar, $500, and paid to New York State Department of Ag and Markets, $1. Total for May, $4,828.62.
Very good, thank you. Thank you, Tracy. Accept the report. Mail review. Do we have anything to go over?
The Purple Heart Community.
Yep, we got that.
I do have the Red Hook School District and the Pine Plains School District budget results. That were mailed or emailed. If anybody would like to take a look at those.
Okay.
The Red Hook School Board, the education members that were recently elected as well.
All right, so we'll have that on file if anybody would like to see that. All right. Perfect. Thank you. And that was it, right? Okay. Move on, correspondence to the web committee. Do we have any comments, communications, complaints for the web committee? Doing good, Chris. All right, excellent.
I did have.
Oh. Almost.
Just was following up about the updating the building permit fees. I haven't checked, but do we have a plan for it?
Well, we haven't come up with an updated list, have we?
Not yet. Not for
Okay.
the total, not for the total reval or the rehaul that we're gonna
Right.
do. So we have one thing that we're gonna address,
Great.
but yes, we haven't.
Yep.
We asked Sam for information on it, we haven't done that yet. That's coming.
All right.
Okay. All right, move on to committee reports. Bob?
Yeah.
Nothing? Okay, Lindsay?
Just want to mention, I think everybody knows by now that Jimmy Potts is retiring from the highway superintendent's job. And Tyler Case has been put on the Republican, Democratic, and Conservative lines on the ballot. He's unopposed. And so we're going to be considering at a special meeting later in the month to appoint him in the interim. And that's about it. I got a couple of remarks I want to make relating to, but I don't want to steal Dawn's thunder, so I'll wait till we get to talking about, or either under her committee report or when we get to the Purple Heart resolution. A couple of things I want to say, so we'll hold that off.
Okay. All right. Lindsay.
All right. Well, from Park, we had a successful volunteer day on Saturday, and I don't know, there were about 7 people who showed up. We spent a few hours in 90-degree plus heat, weeding the front beds and everything was weed whacked, and not all the mulching is done, but that's in progress. Volunteers are going to come during the evening, I think, this week, and sort of just empty the bags, on their own schedule. But the mulch was delivered, and it's looking really nice over there. And the sign is done.
Great.
Sure, you've all seen it, which has made a huge difference in the park. I mean, it just looks like here we have a park, and with the Raiders using the fields, I mean, it feels transformed over there. It's so active. There are hundreds of people there on the weekends and the evenings using it for practices. There's runners and people walking. Anyways, I just think I want to thank all of you for being so supportive and really helping to move that forward. There are a few small things that the committee was hoping for us to address in this meeting, and Dawn has a couple of items as well. One is that the bushes that were installed, we talked last meeting when it was very rainy about, should we put in irrigation, and we decided not to do it, but then it stopped raining altogether, and it's very dry over there because of how the soil was replaced. There was very low organic matter. It's very gravelly and dry, so you really have to stay on top of watering. I went with my husband Ben. We installed irrigation lines from our farm materials, and so there's irrigation set up basically for drip irrigation on the north and south side, but then there are some bushes that are off the irrigation lines, and those need to be hand watered, and then there needs to be weed whacking in between. So the committee has requested that we essentially add a part-time person, or as we discussed, maybe some summer help to essentially make sure that we are protecting our investment in that plant material and keeping things watered and looking neat for the summer. So I don't know if there's anything we need to approve sort of right here or discuss around hiring, but that was a request that it's too much for them to really maintain that.
Didn't we approve the soaker hoses so that you just turn the hose on and
we did not
we
approve
didn't
them in the moment.
go forward with that, or I thought we approved it.
We talked about it, and we said we were going to try and see if they were locally, because I think we were going to order them, I believe.
Yes.
We said, wait, can we find them at Lowe's or Home Depot or something that had them in stock? So we didn't do it last month.
Yeah.
Okay.
The ones that were, just for future reference, the ones available locally, that particular situation is such a long run that with a garden hose, you need a lower pressure hose to essentially soaker hose to be able to go that length. It's I don't know, 250 feet on one side. So it was just letting out too much water, so it wouldn't get to the entire length. So what's there now is called T-tape. It's a drip line, and it goes extremely slowly. So it has to be left on for 8 hours at a time or something. But it does work. It's fine. It just takes longer.
We signed a voucher for a couple of hoses.
That was it was just garden hoses.
Mm-hmm.
Can we put a timer on so nobody has to worry about the water? Can we just buy a timer and just set it and let it come on and off on its own?
Yeah, we could do that.
I'll
I
take
mean,
that.
I've just been
That's
turning it
fairly
on at
cheap.
night and then coming the next day and turning it off. The thing is, the hose has to be moved across. Like you have to do one side and then you have to move it to the other side because the hose has to be hooked up to like one section and then the other.
Okay.
So
How about-
that's what's a little.
I
more
bet if we
time-consuming.
put a T in the hose and get 2 timers and just split it, we'd have to get more hose, right?
I would have to ask Ben if.
Oh,
probably
this is
possible.
your irrigation system. I'm still thinking that soaker hoses, yeah, never mind.
Yeah,
But-
I suppose it might be possible, but I'm not certain. Like if we could just have both hoses running simultaneously.
Yeah, I was
That's
thinking
a
if you tee them off
possibility.
and put 2 timers, you're watering one side or the other,
Yeah.
and you set the timers to alternate.
I would be happy to look into that. The one, so in addition to having a person to just help with some of this on a very part-time basis, maybe up to 5 hours a week, would be ordering some hose reels because those hoses, they're 100 feet, they're very heavy. It's just
Maybe
too
one
much.
on wheels that you can.
Yeah, so there's
Oh.
this one that is available locally at Home Depot. I don't know, it's like $120 for the reel. So I thought maybe we could, at minimum, get 2 of those. I could look into some other options for connections.
Are we also going to revisit getting the soaker hoses or the lines of meat so you can take yours back so you don't have to leave yours there?
No,
and
it's
purchase
fine.
it?
I'll just reclaim the hardware at the end of this.
Are you sure?
We'll
I mean, we
donate
can, you know.
it. No, it's fine. It's done. We don't want it back.
Okay.
I mean, we'll take the hardware at the end, but yeah, it's fine.
All right. Well, thank you very much for that. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem getting a couple of reels if we needed to roll the hoses out. I mean, that's fine. Let's go ahead and do it.
And then if we want to, maybe we could approve another like $100 or something for a timer or just some other things. I'm happy to do
Yeah.
that, but I don't. If I wait a month, it's kind of like.
Right.
I was just
I missed
looking
the
at them
opportunity.
myself.
Oh, how much
what-
do they cost?
That, I was just gonna say, I never looked at the price, I was just
Uh-huh.
looking at the timer saying, oh, yeah, it might be handy to have that, and I never looked at the price, so
I would think
didn't-
for, if you put up to $100, you should be able to find a timer. I
Yeah.
would think.
Do you know the price?
Nope.
I have
Yes.
one that's for spouts, and it was like $75 for Amazon.
There's no electric or anything, right? It just,
It's a battery.
oh, it is
but
battery,
It's supposed
okay.
to last, like 3 or 4 months.
Okay.
So I have no problem with that.
Okay.
Anybody else have any problem with that?
So this was.
So we'll approve the,
Two hose reels?
So this would be 300, if we could do like up to the hose reels, maybe total $400 should be adequate, I think, for the timer, if that's 75 or around there. And then the other thing, I would be happy to look into another T to be able to turn it on all at once. But we
why don't
would
we
still
just
have to
approve- Why
disconnect
don't we just
it.
approve up to $500? That way
And
you're
then
covered,
just-
because I
yeah.
mean, we want to protect the
Sounds good.
investment. I don't have any problem with that.
Okay, great.
If anybody else has any questions, I think it's fine. It's a minimal amount. So we'll approve up to $500 out of the parks line for the hose wheels and the
Okay.
timer.
Great.
Yeah, that's fine.
And Dawn's
Do I need
gonna
to
add
second
to
that?
the grant, right?
Anybody want to second that?
I'll second.
All right, Chris. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay. All right, great.
$50 for a timer.
All right, well, I'll just,
Flip
yeah.
around.
They've got multiple options, I think 50 is.
Won't order the
most
fanciest
expensive.
one, don't worry.
No gold-plated one, please.
And then in terms of additional help for weed whacking and whatnot, that I can create a job posting for that and I will circulate that to the board. We've
Yeah.
already approved it, I guess, in the budget, so.
I think that's the best thing. Just send around, what you want to post. And I don't know, maybe you'd be the best contact person for them to call since you want to explain exactly what you're looking for.
Sure, that's fine.
If you want to do that, and then just keep us posted on
Okay.
who applies. And if you're going to do interviews, you may get several people. You may get anybody. I don't know.
Okay, and if there's anyone, people would want to recommend or know locally who would be willing to do that. That would,
I know we haven't done this in the past.
Make sure they're like over 18 or something.
Yeah, I think they have to be over 18 to work for the town.
oh, really?
I
Okay.
believe so. I have to
I'm
double
not
check
sure
that.
that legally, but I'm just concerned if you get some high school kid that's, 13 or 14 or something, and then they
Oh,
get
I
hurt.
would, yeah,
I think it has to be.
I do it.
Over 18, okay.
Yeah, we might be okay with 16, I don't know.
Double check.
Because they're using the weed whacker, that might make it at a higher age.
Okay.
Might want to check with Andy.
I'd have to run a line to make sure,
County HR could probably.
they'd be
tell
able to
us.
answer that too, because they hire people too, so.
I was gonna suggest that, I know we haven't done this in the past, at least it's never been set up, but I can set up a email address for TownBoard and put everyone's email on the list, so if someone responds to climb up TownBoard,
Sure.
we'd all get the email. It's an option.
That'd be fine, that'd be good.
I don't think we've ever done it before
I don't
because
think
it's
so.
not set up now, but I could set it up and just anyone who wants to email the town board can use a town board email address and we would all be on, it's like a distribution list.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
That's fine. That'll work, thank you.
You're gonna set that up so it's different than like when Tracy gets stuff from town board.
Yeah,
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah,
there
it'll
may
be
be stuff
different.
that you don't want, just everybody having an address and going out to everybody.
no, if I set it up, the email address will be, I mean, we can figure that we call it whatever we want. If they send it to that email address, it's just basically a distribution, we'll all
Yeah,
receive it.
It's up for you.
I'll get it, Tracy takes care of it.
All right.
Stand in for that.
Other small things for the park. So I guess on the Claremont Park side, there are a couple of garbage cans that maybe, I don't know what the arrangement is with the Little League, but there is trash after the Raiders game. There's not a lot, but there's enough that it's noticeable. So the request was,
On the field out here?
yeah, just like masks, stuff blown. I mean, overall, I think they're doing an excellent job, but there was a request from the committee that maybe the league or the town purchase 2 garbage cans that could just be used temporarily for games or something like that.
Okay.
As
Yeah,
We're doing on the other side?
We've always called it a carry in, carry out. We start getting too much trash.
Well, I mean, the problem is people, then they come and empty their vehicles out and they fill them right up and we have to get rid of
Right,
it.
right.
So,
Yeah.
a little reluctant to put cans out all over the place, but,
I saw it.
We're
well,
responsible for it
I went
once we
back
put it
to
out
the,
there.
maybe the league could just bring them, just to make sure that they're bringing them during the
yeah, I mean,
games.
I think
and
that
then
basically, I believe,
remove them.
for right now, I believe they're done. I think that was their last weekend.
Oh,
They had
okay.
one more, maybe then they're done, but, I mean, obviously this is
Yeah.
going forward, we don't have
Right.
a problem. So we can request that of anybody using the field to bring a can and then please remove everything when they're done.
Right.
Rather than us providing this. Once we put it there, that's what happens.
Yeah,
People
of
just
course.
dump everything in there, but they don't
Yeah.
want, we're responsible, so.
And I had gone back to the furnishings section in the park report, and what I think is a reasonable one to put there, they're expensive. They're like $400 for a garbage can that's going to stay there
Right.
and not going to blow it. So if we can try to get the leagues to be a little better about it, I think that might be a good first step. And if it doesn't work, then we'll have to go to.
I haven't been back there. Has there been a problem with litter?
There is some that wasn't there before. It's not excessive, and I think knowing the number of people that are there, they're certainly picking up after themselves, but there's a lot of people there, so
Yeah.
it's like things just blow away, you don't even know,
And that'll be a requirement going forward. Whoever uses it will make sure
Yeah,
we
I
say,
would say
please
keep
bring
that
a
in mind
can,
when
please clean the
people-
field. I mean,
people
they've been
request.
trying, I believe, but
Sure,
obviously it's
yeah.
been a little bit, so.
And
Yeah,
if
if
not,
people
they're
request to use the
liable for
field,
another
like-
fee. Clean it.
You have a requirement for insurance, make that a requirement for carry in, carry out also.
Yeah, I think we'll try to address it that way and see how it works before we
Okay.
provide cans. I'd like to do that.
Speaking of that, the committee was wondering if the there was any schedule that we could post for when the field is going to be used, if that's something that,
As of right now, there is no schedule.
There's no
It's done.
reserved.
Like I said, I
Okay.
think this was the last weekend, unless it's next weekend. I'm almost positive it was this weekend, but nobody else has contacted me for using the field until the fall.
Okay.
I can't get that information on it, but the fall soccer league. It'll be
Okay.
Until September, I believe.
is that something that we'd want to have on the website?
It probably would be a good idea in case anybody else would like to schedule or use the field, knowing that they can find it now and see when it is going to be used. So yes, I can get that information.
Okay.
Um,
Is there's a calendar?
There is a calendar,
Yeah.
but we're not utilizing it because we have not identified someone who would update it. And the reason for it was to have each board, zoning board, planning board,
Uh-huh.
all the boards update it themselves, and they really don't
Have
want
not.
it. Right.
Okay.
So,
They won't tape the meetings, they won't do anything, so they won't update the calendar.
so the calendar is on there, it's just, it's not being utilized.
We
Okay.
could have a basic calendar with what night the meetings are on and so forth, and maybe the schedule like that.
Sounds like you're volunteering.
Careful.
Sounds like
I
a
would
good
put in
idea.
the basic schedule. I would put in the planning board, the zoning board, the town board meeting. I wouldn't put in what public hearings there were on each particular night, but get it set up for the year.
I think part of the problem was, once that goes on according to our normal schedule, there are cancellations, there are postponements, or they shift from one day to the other, and then when somebody goes to look at the calendar, and they show up and there's no meeting, or they miss a meeting because it was changed, that was the problem.
We do have the posting that, on there also, that the planning board is the second Wednesday, I think, and the zoning is the fourth Wednesday. We don't have that.
Right.
And they'll see that anyway,
Yeah.
regardless.
And I think that was the consensus that we ended with, is it's there, that everyone knows the monthly meeting schedule, but it is subject to change.
All right, so we can definitely get that posted on, so people
Okay.
know when the field's being used, but maybe we may want to address the other calendar as well, so.
So the last, there's some other things that are pending. One is an enclosure for the porta potty, which we don't have 3 estimates yet. I could only find 2.
Well, I have, we got one from
I have the one from the
Wildflower
Yeah.
Landscape,
Mhm.
and I know somebody else who I think we can get one from.
So that would be 3. Yeah, I have this
I
one.
did reach out to a carpenter I know,
Oh,
and he
great.
said he's completely booked. He said
Yeah,
the whole
they're so
summer's
busy.
booked.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
we have a couple.
Who's the
I
second one
reached out to
from?
the carpenter I know.
It's
I'm
in
not
my
taking
email.
any
I
issue
thought
with
I
it.
printed it, but I didn't.
Can't get that in.
So we should
Huh?
have that for the next meeting. Is
Booked.
Yeah.
some pricing for that enclosure. And the other issue was topsoil. Amy recommended buying a 20-yard truck of topsoil to put on either side of the path up to the Veterans Monument to essentially just make it safer, so it's a little more gradual slope, and then plant grass on top of that.
And poppies.
Sure, that's fine. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
she actually mentioned that.
She mentioned that as well. Yeah, wildflower mix, I think, of poppies, I think she said.
Mhm. So that I'm only seeing one estimate that she got from GrowMax in Hudson, which is $25 a yard, $140 a delivery.
$25 a yard, that's actually pretty cheap.
That's what
That's
she
what she
said.
said.
It's
I
very
thought-
cheap.
I thought
Yeah,
Jimmy
it
was
is.
bidding something with Ray Barr.
He talked to him, I know he mentioned to him, but at $25 a yard, you're not gonna beat that price anywhere.
Okay.
That's cheap.
is,
I thought
I-
topsoil.
Sure it's not $45 a yard?
This is what she has in
All
her.
right.
She did say it was a good, that she said there was,
That's very cheap.
Red Wing and A.W. Coon, she said were the other two that we could look at, but she said that $25 a yard was a good price. She didn't think we could beat that.
Yeah, no, that's,
Well, Jimmy had talked with Ray Bauer, he was supposed to be making some topsoil.
Gromax has very good topsoil also. They have the best topsoil, one of the best topsoils.
Yeah.
Very good. If we give $25 a yard, I'd say we should definitely do it.
Okay, so she said 640 here. Do we
Was
want to?
that, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
That's cheap.
Was that delivered?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it
Is
was?
this right?
Okay.
Apparently, yes.
That might make a difference.
Yeah, so 640 total. So the delivery is $140. So
Oh, so it's 20 yards plus $140 delivery, right?
right. So it's the total is $640.
$640 for 20 yards.
So divide that, but the six, I should be able to do this in my head, but I can't.
Thirty.
Divide it by,
$32.
the 640 by.
$32, isn't it?
Yeah,
Not $32 a yard comes out to?
that's something that probably comes out something like that.
Yes.
Yes. I think it's $32 a yard.
Still not a bad price.
Huh?
Still not a bad price.
That's fine, that's
Okay.
fine. That's
So
fine.
do we want to just
That's
approve $700 just to? I need to verify this price. I haven't talked to Gromax, but this is the estimate she got over the phone.
I thought there was, I just want to bring this up, that there may have been settling on there, so if that,
This is for the sides.
right. But if there was any settling and it's not the straight path up, do we want to, with culvert pipe and everything, I assume there could have been some settling?
I
Just
don't think
check
there's much
that.
settling, but it
Yeah.
actually wasn't total uniform all the way up. It does get a little steeper as you get up towards the top.
Okay,
I mean, that's how it was, ended up being done.
right. I'm just curious if
I think
there
it-
needs to be something more done there before, like a finishing touch, maybe we should do that.
I'd have to
Yeah,
check,
I
I'd
haven't
have to
looked,
check
so
with the
I
guys,
don't
yeah,
know.
I mean, I don't know if it's anything that needs more to be addressed before we do that, but I mean, I don't think it would really affect the slants too much with the topsoil. I mean, if we add a little bit more, I don't think, we're not.
I'm
gonna
just
actually-
thinking if we end up putting something more on it, and then it, then
It
you,
just continues to settle.
yeah.
There definitely is it goes up and then kind of levels off and then goes up steeper instead of being uniform all the way up. You can
Right.
see it with your eye. It's not, massively.
No, I mean, it was fine.
I think it still comes close to meeting ADA requirements, but as Mary Howard pointed out the other night, that she's been in a wheelchair for a while, so she couldn't make it up there on her own in a wheelchair. That's what ADA is supposed to be, but I'm not sure that the ADA requirements actually allow anybody to just wheel himself up either.
Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to
But
be.
but you can look and you can see that it's steeper as you get towards the top.
Yeah. I could check with the highway department and see if they think there's any more that needs to be done to it before we,
Just
before
a
the
thought,
topsoil.
and that
There's
way when we put
reason
the
to
finishing touch on it, it'll be
Yeah,
a
if
fine
they have a
touch
reason
as
that they
well.
think we need to address it before we do that, then I can let you know on that, but I can run it by and see.
But I could see when they did it, that there was, part was steeper than the other, but they had done so much work on it, I didn't want to come back and complain about it.
No, I mean, they
But
did,
now it's
they did
fine.
very nice job on what they did for us, so, absolutely.
Do we want to approve this?
I'll run it by them anyway, we could approve
expense?
this pending their,
Okay.
they're not gonna change it, I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah, I just remembered hearing it, and I just wanted to mention it.
No, it's a valid point.
All right, we'll approve the
When you go to
$650.
planting, you definitely should plan on planting poppies. We've talked about that many times in the past.
Yeah, I don't. Amy has not given any specification as to what's going to be planted there, so we can talk about that next meeting. But she did mention poppies, so I think that's a possibility.
All right,
I mean, that
so
definitely goes with the veterans month.
Sure. Yeah.
We'll approve the $650 for the topsoil, and we want to second that?
Second?
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Well, we should connect with the climate committee representatives who are here for us to address the model resolution again. But Dawn, maybe we should
Right.
finish the park conversation first.
So, we were notified by Bank of Greene County that we were going to receive $750 towards the grant that I submitted, which was for an ADA compliant swing, 2 bike racks, and then games to put on the surface of the basketball court. So we'll get that money sometime during the summer, probably July, $750. But the park committee wanted to know if we could move forward with purchasing all of the items. The swing, the one that I found was this, that is an ADA compliant swing, and this is what was in the grant, is like $570. $85 of that is shipping, which hopefully I had to work with the woman to get. It's not just a swing. This is what it looks like,
Yeah.
so that it really gives the person a lot of support. And
Have you,
I did look at the ones that you said, and I couldn't find anything similar.
No, I was gonna ask if you've been to the rec park in Red Hook.
No, I have
Because
not.
they've got a very nice one. It's very similar to that. It's got like this, almost like a roller coaster type thing where the whole unit comes down, but I don't know if price-wise if it's any different, but it might be
Right.
worth considering,
Okay.
something similar.
So this was that one that was like $565, and then the bike racks that I looked at, I did recycled plastic, and what I had priced out for the grant were 2 6-feet ones that were 10 positions. They were $555 a piece, and then with the shipping for the 2 of them, it came to $1,336. So the committee wanted to know if we would approve moving forward with the purchase of these, knowing that we have $750 coming.
I have no problem moving forward. Do we have a second bid at least on any of these?
I can get second bids on them.
I think we should at least have a second bid on that one, especially because it's over $1,000.
Right.
But if we can't, let's put it this way: we can approve up to those amounts pending a second bid. That way we can go ahead with it instead of waiting.
Okay.
So if you can't get a second bid lower, then you can go ahead and purchase these, because I don't have a problem with those. I know they're very expensive. The ADA swings are ridiculously expensive, and PVC, anything PVC is through the roof. Did they tell you lead time on those? Probably forever, right?
Well, this is what I did back in the spring, so I don't
Oh, okay.
know
Yeah.
what the lead time is gonna be now.
All right.
Yeah, I'm finding a lot of things are
Just takes a
very
long time.
long lead times on a lot
Yeah.
of things.
So unless the board has a problem, I don't have a problem approving up to those amounts pending a second bid to verify the price. If not, then, if you get a cheaper bid, go with the
I
less
don't have a
expensive.
problem with that either, but I was gonna say if, I'll try to get more information on the swing in
Okay.
Red Hook.
I know the people who selected the equipment there, so I'm happy to.
Okay.
Yeah,
ask them specifically.
I just say it because
It's really nice.
it was a
I
very
agree.
nice swing, yeah.
Yeah, some of the ones, I mean, you can get a whole separate unit that has its own frame and everything.
Yeah.
There are ones that you can actually put a
Spend
wheelchair
thousands of
on.
dollars if you really want to.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot
yeah.
of stuff. So
This-
I mean, it's a chance that maybe that one is because it did look like a nice swing. Maybe we don't want to
Right,
go
right.
that
Okay,
expensive.
so, okay, good.
So I'll make the motion. We proceed with up to those amounts pending the second bid to verify. Anybody want to make a second?
I'll make the second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Perfect. Thank you.
So,
I have that on the actual agenda for
Oh,
the
great.
connoisseur resolution.
Excellent.
So we'll
let's
get to
do
that
it.
in a minute.
Yes.
All right, let's get through the reports and we'll hit that in new business.
Great.
Chris, anything?
No, not a lot. I mean, clearly we all know that the last meeting was not recorded due to technical difficulties. So I just want to point out that I'm pretty sure I've got that covered this time.
Good.
Another thing I wanted to bring up is I've had several discussions with Mary Howard, who was involved with the Right to Farm. And there have been multiple, I've done a lot of reading of other areas, other towns within the area, Mary Howard herself was involved in it, and
Which is involved in what?
the right to farm. It's something that we can put together, and it could eventually become part of our comprehensive plan. So I started talking with Mary, I think it was early in the year, January, February timeframe, and we've gone back and forth a few times with it. I've been collecting a lot of information. What I'd like to do is present sort of a draft, and then maybe let it go from there as far as forming committees, meetings, anything that goes beyond that. I'm sure you have a lot of interest in it as well, Lindsay. But I would like to try to put something like that into our town's plan, as we are a very agricultural town, and I'd like to move forward on something that helps sustain that.
Okay.
So I just wanted to put that out there now, and as I collect more information and get closer to actually presenting something, everyone is aware that it's on its way, something's coming. So unless there's any objection
I don't
to
think you'll have any objections to that around here.
Good.
All right.
Was many years ago, that maybe 2006 or something, wasn't there something, a local group that was meeting? I thought it was something around Right to Farm. I think Judy Neary maybe was involved with that.
I don't know. I don't know the answer. That was just before I came in.
Right.
I don't know the answer.
I don't remember much about it. Just I remember Judy being, something makes me think that Judy was involved, and I don't know if it was more than just the town of Claremont, if it was something more of a regional effort or not. I don't recall.
I believe there was something going on. There was mutual talents involved. It wasn't just Claremont. And I don't have the details. You're talking a long time ago.
Right.
I don't
The county has a lot of information posted as well from the county level, and then each town within the county is formed, sort of tailoring to their own towns.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of information out there. So you may be correct if it were more at a county level, because the county does have some templates and things like that.
All right. Well, we'll look forward to that information. Excellent. Thank you, Chris. Vaughn?
I don't really have anything as far as grants. I have the invoice now for the sign, so I can submit that to the Columbia Lands Conservancy and get reimbursed for that. That's $500, and I have not heard. Usually we hear something from Bank of Greene County about a date that we can go and pick up the check. I haven't heard anything from them yet, and I think sometime in middle of May they announced the consolidated fiscal application process is open, and that's where all this everybody can compete through the regional economic development regions for grants. So I was going to take a look at that. That's due at the end of July. That's where we tried to apply for the $25,000 for the engineering, to cover the engineering costs. There's other things out there, I'm sure, that we can look at, and maybe money for like updating our comprehensive plan or something like that. I would be looking at, as well as the park.
Okay, that's good, because that takes a lot of money, apparently.
Yes.
So, all right, excellent. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to old business. Just a couple things. The parking lot paving has been completed. It's been done. We had a little bit of a problem with one area. They have a low spot in an area that they are going to address, and I believe that's why we received a partial bill on the paving. But they have one spot that collects a little bit of water, a little more than what we would want. So they're coming back to fix that. They're going to take and grind it out and patch that area and raise it up. So that's when I believe we'll see the final bill in the abstracts for next month. But they are aware and they are planning to come back and fix it. Other than that, they did a great job. Other than that, it looks good. I mean, we needed
There's
it.
a couple of little spots that have kind of a puddle. There's one out in front.
Yeah, you get a little bit. I mean, on a big flat area, it's very hard not to. I mean, it's allowed to have up to almost an 1/8 inch, I believe, supposedly. Like you said, with a quarter.
If you drop a quarter and the top doesn't get wet, it's supposed to be okay. That's what Joe Rosconi told me when he did mine.
There you go. And we have a very big flat area, so it is kind of difficult. So I mean, they did a pretty good job on it. So there's just one area they need to address, which they're going to do.
And the voucher that we signed did say material. You know, there's so many tons of material and amount, which is less than half of the full bid. So I think they did not charge us any bill of labor yet. So that's probably coming. I don't have that confirmed, but that's my suspicion.
So that is on the agenda. They'll be getting to that probably this month. So pretty good. Mortgage tax. I just want to let everybody know we received the mortgage tax payment, which is biannual. Came in just over $30,000 for the first payment, which is pretty good compared to last year. We received a little bit more than we budgeted last year, but we budgeted $40,000 for the whole year. So we'll get another payment in December. Depending on how things go, I mean, we should definitely be over budget. I've never seen one come in less than $15,000, so 30,000 is a good start. So I believe we'll have extra revenue from the mortgage tax this year. So that'll help. That's good, as long as people keep refinancing. New business, a few things. First thing I have is the highway superintendent's official resignation. As many of us know, he is retiring as of June 1st. So he wrote a letter to the Claremont Town Board. As you know, June 1st, 2021, I'll be resigning from the position of highway superintendent for the town of Claremont. It's been my pleasure to serve the people of Claremont for the past 25 years. I want to thank the board for their cooperation and assistance over the years. So rest the best to all of you. Sincerely, Jim Potts, Jr. So I am putting together a letter, thank you letter to him. And I'd like to just collect a little small donation for everybody to give him a going away present. But we certainly appreciate everything he's done over the years for us. He's saved us tens of thousands of dollars. I know Bob's spelled it out. I've spelled it out several times over the years. Just some repairs and extra work. He's done a fantastic job, and it's going to be very difficult to replace. We'll miss him dearly, I'm sure. So,
yeah, Jimmy told me when he first came in that the previous superintendent told him what he did. And by law, highway superintendent doesn't have to do anything but tell the employees what to do. He can come in the morning, tell them what to do, and go home for the rest of the day. Right? We've had a working superintendent for the 25 years, and I've seen the work that he's done, and from what Jimmy told me, the previous one did. And I think the one that has been nominated for the next election has indicated that he wants to follow the same, and it does save the town thousands of dollars every year.
yeah.
And so, again, I'd like to publicly thank Jimmy also for the work that he's done over the years.
I've had some personal experience with Jimmy as well, some drainage issues and things like that, and I've always been very happy with Jim. He's always come out, always worked with me. I'm very grateful for the work that he's done.
And not only the work that he's done for the town of Claremont, but we have an intermunicipal agreement with Livingston and Germantown. So if you see Germantown trucks on Claremont highways or vice versa, that's part of our agreement that it saves us from having to hire larger crews in each town for paving and that, because they all work together. And in fact, Jimmy actually went beyond that. He welded a new bed in one of our trucks, and it turned out very well. This was a few years ago. And Germantown had a similar truck, and he did the same thing for them. You know, so the towns have worked well together, and it does save us a lot of money.
So in the interim, we have our acting highway superintendent, which is our deputy. Adam Lawyer is going to be taking care of running things for the next month. We talked about on the 24th, we're going to be bringing in the candidate that's running on the conservative, Democrat, and Republican line, which pretty much is unopposed, to interview him and possibly consider an early appointment as of July even to the position as a provisional appointment to the election. So we will be discussing this with him, going over, talking to him, interviewing him, and making that decision on the 24th if we will be proceeding with an early appointment, provisional appointment to that position. So at this point, Adam will run it until we change it in July. All right. Other than that, I do have on here the resolution we discussed last month for the Climate Smart, I hope I said that right, Climate Smart community. So I will bring that back up. I know we talked about it last month. We said let's wait a month to discuss it, think about it, come back with any questions we had, and have another quick discussion before we decide to move forward with it. So I will, I guess, put it on the table for further discussion, or if we want to go ahead and move forward with it. Do we have any-
I began collecting some information. I found a website with information, and I started to put the information together to share it, and it's nearly well over 200 pages at this point. So there's a lot there. So my question is, there are items expiring, opportunities, if you will. Do we know the frequency in which they expire, or is there like, is it just random? They no longer support the idea, or they just put them on there for a period of time? Do we know anything about that?
This is what you've seen in your research, that there are like deadlines or.
They essentially they say that this is only good until this period, and after that it's no
I
longer
see.
an option.
Do you guys have any thoughts? I don't know for certain, but what I would assume based on how the program was created and run is that what the state wants to do changes over time. Like they said this is a milestone for 2030, and they said this is a milestone for 2045, and therefore the projects you might want to do for 2030 might not be appropriate for 2045, and you might need to take more drastic actions to meet the 2045 goals if you haven't caught up. So I know certainly the CLCPA, which was passed in 2019, has like different milestones for us to hit, and the programs are linked.
Okay.
Yeah, so they initially had like a 2-year milestone, so they're at that now, and then they redo for 5 more years, and then they review, and then 5 more years. So it's ongoing because they do have targets for 2030, targets for 2045, so that they need to meet, and they're pretty heavy targets. So it's a serious thing to meet the requirements that the New York State, through that Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act, has set. So, you know, the whole purpose of that, and it's bipartisan. So they have people on those, at 22 people who are appointed to that entity, and they're all sides of the aisle, but they are responsible to make those targets happen, you know, attain them. So where the rubber meets the road on a lot of this, community by community, is in the climate smart community effort. So what we're doing is really crucial, because it's gotta really get everywhere. It can't just be on the industrial basis and on the commercial basis. It needs to be household by household, community by community.
So if we pass the resolution to be a smart community, does that mean we're signing up to do some of these things? And
No, it just makes us eligible to apply. So the town board would approve this and then any other action individually.
It's basically like the projects listed are kind of like a menu, and we as a town, you know, get to decide what we want to do. Passing the resolution means that we open ourselves up to the free resources to take part in the projects. But it doesn't commit us to doing any of them. And in fact, if we decided like, okay, here are the 10 that we want to do, and we got approval for that, and we said, okay, these are the 10 we're committing to, and then we got halfway through one of them and realized we can't do this, it's gonna cost us $250,000, there would be no commitment to go ahead with it. It's really up to us to get the work done. So if something doesn't work out, we can always say, we're gonna pick a different project, this project is not the right one for us.
supposing for some year we don't pick any project.
That's fine.
And you're not empowering the task force to make those decisions and commitments. They're responsible to report to you and for the board to make the decisions, to make the commitments. Particularly if it involves anything that might be on a financial end or, town employees or anything like that.
So my understanding is that we don't have so much a choice of what item of the 10. The 10 are required, but each individual point within the 10 have multiple options. In other words, option 1 must be completed, but you have these items to select for option 1. And then option 2 has another set, but all 10 items are required.
Sort of. There's a few that are mandatory, but they're pretty easy lifts. It's like pass the resolution, create a committee.
I think that's all under option 1.
Right, that's all the mandatory stuff. But all the other projects, there's not generally mandatory selections. As long as you meet the point criteria, you can choose whatever you want to do.
And what if we don't meet the point criteria?
If you don't meet the point criteria, then we just don't get the bronze certification. So we certainly could do projects and never get a certification. We could do that if we wanted to, but if we get the certification, then we unlock other stuff when we get to the right amount of points.
And there's still, without the certification, there's still cost sharing and other resources
Yes.
available to the town, even
Yes.
if we, so if we do a few projects and we don't get the certification, we could still potentially benefit.
Yeah.
So does this also unlock grant opportunities as well if we get this resolution passed? Does that help funding, some kind of funding, anything?
Yeah, passing the resolution really gives us the opportunity to get the free resources from the Cornell Cooperative, for example, is heavily involved with the program. And those often don't even take a grant process at all. It's just passing the resolution, we kind of get on their radar as a community doing this work, and then we can reach out to them, and vice versa. Very often organizations will reach back to us and say, we see you join this program, would you like help with your watershed plan or whatnot? But sometimes there's not even a grant process.
Again, I've been trying to collect information myself. I've still not seen anything other than our discussions. It's my understanding that there are grant opportunities whether you do this or not as well. And is there any kind of, do you know more about what would be available as opposed to not available and why? Is it just strictly, I guess I always feel like I'm hitting a wall when I'm looking at, if this is what the state is looking for us to move towards, why put a roadblock out there? Why not just allow us to apply for grants just like anyone else?
Yeah, it's a good question.
I know they're available because it does
Yeah.
say there are grants available. You don't need to do anything. You just apply for them.
Right. This is just my personal opinion, but having worked with other folks who are doing this work in other towns, what it seems to me like is that towns that pass the resolution and say, okay, we're working with within this program, are just seen as being a little bit more serious about actually getting the work done. And then therefore, organizations like Cornell are like, okay, you're serious. We're gonna put, the hundreds of man hours behind this and give you this free resource because you're part of this program.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're not part of the program, they're like, are you doing this? Are you not doing this? They kind of see like the resolution as the primary commitment for other people to come and help us.
Makes
So-
you more competitive, the town's more competitive when applying.
Yeah, and I might add too, there are a number of different, through NYSERDA and various state and NGOs that are working with the state that are anxious to work with communities on different projects that they connect with those communities that have made this resolution. And then also from our perspective, if we have the ability in Claremont to say that we've done this, there's a lot of resources, a lot of great people in Claremont that I think will will rally to participate in this effort. I think, and it's a means for us to get information out and just, you know, shake the bushes. And just the last meeting we were here, there was a gentleman who was talking about, you know, he's got this big area, you know, woodlot on his property, and he's concerned with infestation, and here he is wanting to preserve the wood, the lumber, the forest, because of the carbon sequester, and wanted to know what resources are out there that might be able to help him deal with the infestation that might be related to all this, you know? I didn't have the answer to him, and I said that might be something that through Cornell Cooperative or DEC or some other entity, and, you know, I'm sorry to give that acronym out here, but, you know, there are other entities out there that might be able to be very helpful in that regard to landowners, property owners in Claremont.
One other thing I noticed is there's a lot of grants that are intended for implementation of certain environmental, safe, and sustainable energy. But and they also address waste cleanup, whether that be related to chemicals or pollution or carbon-based footprints, etc. What I don't see is anything, and I know our planning board deals with this, is something like a solar panel. When it reaches end of life, what do you do with it? What is the best way, what is the most environmentally friendly way to clean that up and dispose of it? And I don't see anything related to the cleanup of that. And alongside that is I know David was talking about electric cars, telling me, I know the next car you buy is going to be electric. But at the same time, there is nothing to address what happens with that car when it's done. We all have cell phones that batteries just don't hold charge anymore, and that's the same with a car. What do we do with those? Because there's a lot of news media out there that would suggest it's a bigger problem than actually using a gasoline car.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
there's nothing that addresses that type of thing.
yeah, I mean, to just focus on the program itself, like I don't think the program has any programs or tactics to say if you install solar, then you have to participate in this recycling program. Because candidly, as a person who works in that industry, it's not very developed yet, so I don't even know what to point to. But that, again, like I think that if we were going to install solar, that's probably a question that we would all have and discuss, like in the moment that we were deciding if we wanted to take that on. And the same with EV chargers, the same with if we were going to buy an electric car for the highway supervisor or whatnot. That's a conversation we would have within that decision. I don't know that the program is actually very good at steering those decisions for us. They really allow us to make those decisions as they come up.
But there are, for example, through BARD's Sustainable MBA program, last year there were a group of students that did a project their project was developing a company that took back the batteries from electric vehicles and repurposed them. And so there's all these things where you bring up great points,
Yeah.
but there are also opportunities in all those points too. Companies that would be dealing with recycling the solar panels and the equipment of the solar panels. You know, once they're get through, let's say, their 30-year typical useful life, because everything has to become like a circular economy, and with that there are business opportunities. So, you know, we don't know that future just yet.
Right.
We're just kind of entering into
Right,
it.
no, I understand that. I guess I'm trying to look at the support and the grants to implement something without any idea how to dispose of it properly.
Yeah, and I guess-
I think it's a big
I'm totally happy
something
to.
that should be
I'm
considered.
I'm totally happy to talk to you more about that specific issue if you want. I have tons of experience in solar.
Yeah.
And I think we could totally participate in the program. And if we wanted to go solar, like we could have that conversation within that program conversation. Like we
Yeah.
could totally be part of the program and not go solar and never even have that discussion.
See, not knowing some of the things that they're gonna want us to do is one of the things that I have a little problem with, because we've been through that with New York State. We did some work on the community house over here and found out after the fact that now we couldn't touch it because without their approval.
Yeah.
Okay, and we don't need something like that. We had that with, they were supposed to let us pay our 10% of the remediation over here by using the material from the part that wasn't contaminated.
Yeah.
Well, the only thing we got is that our total price went down a little bit because we don't use the material, so our piece of it went down a little bit. But we got charged a lot of money that when it was first presented to us, we did not expect.
Yeah.
And that's what happens when
totally
you
fair.
work with New York State.
Yeah, that's totally fair. But the program is, like I said, like it's something that the board would have to decide on a project by project basis. So we wouldn't be committed to anything. And you can actually, there's a website where you can see every single, Chris is obviously taking a look, you can see every single project that they suggest and that you can get points for. So there's no surprises. And there's actually several towns in the area have participated. And I don't think they have run into any problems like that. Like it is very much like a menu, and you decide what you want to do as you go.
Are you familiar with any of that?
I mean, this doesn't commit us to any restrictions on anything. I mean, obviously, everything we would have to do, we'd have to vote to move forward with it. So if we have one issue that say, if we don't like the solar disposal, whatever information given out, then we just don't proceed with it. So I mean, as far as moving forward with this resolution, I don't see anything wrong with it. I think it's more of an informational thing, and it gives us the opportunity to move forward with some possible savings. We can address issue by issue as we go forward and what we choose to do. I mean, if we don't like something, we research it, we don't do it. But as far as moving forward with this
Based on what
resolution,
I've seen, I don't know that I mean, if you look at the options, there are expenses to some of them. I don't see how we can actually become certified, I think is the right term, certified without spending money to achieve that outside of the grants.
and that'll play a big part in what we proceed to move forward with. I mean, if there's not funding to help us out, that we can't, get some funding to help or offset the cost, we may not proceed.
And
proceed.
this is what I've been doing, is trying to go through that. There's a lot of information
Yeah.
there.
Yes.
So going through it, you can kind of cross things off. We can't, I don't see us ever doing, I mean, there are certain things that are business related. I don't know that, I think you spoke about doing like an audit of our energy use
Yeah.
here. And there are portions in there where businesses within the community, getting them to allow you to audit them is a point system as well. So there is community involvement, and we may or may not get any of that.
But there's some things that align really well too. I mean, you were just talking about wanting to support farmers, which clearly we should
Right,
do
right.
as
Yeah.
in any opportunity. There's actually a lot of programs that are related to
I
specifically
think-
supporting good land use for farmers. So I think
I think
they've
that is
tried to
under-
create a menu of things that
Yeah.
some are not appropriate for our size
Well,
town and our landscape, but some may fit quite
Right.
well.
The one that you bring up, I think, is the one that has a vast majority of them are expiring. I think it's category number 6.
Okay.
And that is land use, and many of those are all, the ones I spoke of earlier that are all expiring, it's all under that category.
I know New
So we'll have to
Lebanon,
see. Yeah,
which is
I
a
mean,
town a little bit larger than we are, is achieved bronze certification. And I looked through a lot of the things that they do. They're very low cost. A lot of it is education, as like Suzanne talked about too, that we could do something to educate the community on composting or a lot of different things like that. That would be a community benefit, very low or no cost for us, and that would still garner points for those.
All right, so I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I don't see any negative reason not to approve this, and then, you know, we just have to look, as going forward, look at each individual case. I'll entertain a motion to approve the resolution, if you guys want to move forward with it.
I can second that.
Second.
Oh,
All in favor?
aye.
Opposed?
I'll
You said you
abstain,
entertain it,
just
but you
because I'm
didn't
going
make
through
Yeah,
all
I'll
the
take it.
information. I'd
That's
like
fine.
to be able to get through it, and I haven't been able to do that.
4 yeses and an abstention. Yes. All right.
Respectfully abstain.
Granted, there's a lot of information, and I have to tell you, I've been really trying to focus on it, but there's a lot going
There
on,
is
so.
very
There is.
that's
It is, there's a
So
lot
you
there.
gonna
Fair.
take a vote now?
I
Or?
agree.
We did. You voted, didn't you?
No, I did not.
No. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, you got 3 to 2.
Are you an abstention
You
or a
made me go
no?
through that for that?
An abstention.
Yeah, I'm just not
Two
sure.
abstentions.
Okay.
You have 2 abstentions.
Just not sure.
Bob and Chris abstained. All right.
Bob, I need to get you a computer, you can jump
So
on
that's all
with me
set?
and go
Yeah,
through the
I think so.
information, there's a lot there.
And here's the
Thank you.
text.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for, in advance, for the work you're gonna be doing.
Yeah, no, we're-
David?
Yeah, that's the hard part.
I mean, that's, yeah.
Is there a second page for this?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I had one last,
And it had another.
and, no, it looked like something was missing.
There was,
When I printed off the bottom, which has a
It's just a list.
3 at the bottom, I'm not sure if, and it's the last thing is, number 10, engage in evolving process of climate action.
there was,
Okay.
no, there were 2
Backside.
pages last, that I presented, yeah, last time. That was
Looking
the
for
full
this?
resolution.
Yeah.
So the next
You
thing
had
on
the
your
same
list
thing.
is zoning fee update, right?
Yeah, that was,
Well, we've-
that was a
we've
mis-
talked-
mis-
Just one
misprint.
page.
Yep, I had the
What?
same thing.
Building fee.
Oh, that was
Okay.
where I
That's
printed
it.
it.
I've got the header.
We've
so I
talked,
didn't know
we've
if it was
talked about supporting
Yeah, I
agriculture.
think we just
Yes,
printed it.
let's
for
do
the
it.
basis.
I want everybody to hear this. So leave-
PDF, I think,
there you go.
Yeah, we did this last month, so I don't remember.
might have changed, because there were a lot of
Yes,
updates
yes,
in it now,
yes.
so.
The next item on is the zoning fee update, and we've talked about supporting agriculture and what? And one of the things that we've discovered since we updated our fees, that some agricultural buildings have gotten some very high building fees. And some towns have opted to have ceilings on that, and we've talked with Sam about it, and a couple of us have talked with him, have come up with that we should put a ceiling of $100 instead of, I think, what was it, $800 or $8,000?
$800.
$800.
Because right now it's 25 cents per foot for a building permit.
Yeah.
So agriculture was being charged the same. We didn't have the exemption. So.
So what we'd like to do is put a ceiling, it'll still be 25 cents per square foot, with a maximum of $100 for the building fee, plus the $50 fee for the inspections. So it would be a total of $150 would be the maximum on any building. It could be less than that if it's a real small building and still needs a permit. It could be less than $100 plus the 50, but the
Yeah.
maximum would be.
In other towns are comparable. The town of Red Hook, is one of the ones I still have in my folder, caps at 250. So, we're gonna be cheaper than that. I mean, some of the other towns, I believe, are 50 plus a fee. But I think $100 is a reasonable amount to put on for a ceiling cap. And
You're
We've
talking about
raised,
this one,
all agriculturals. Any
Right.
agricultural building. So it's just for
Are there
agriculture.
other projects that have gone forward and
I don't.
farmers who have been charged?
I don't
in
know. I
excess
don't
of
think
that?
he's had, I'll have to look back at the schedule, see if he's had any other ones, but I'm not sure. I'll have
Okay.
to look at that.
Yeah.
I would assume he's had a lot of building permits, but what pertains to
Agricultural,
this
yeah.
particular,
It's only agricultural that's
Okay.
gonna be affected.
Yeah.
I mean, we've raised quite a few of our fees over the last few years, really at the recommendation of our billing inspection person, and we found that we've always tried to keep our fees low in comparison to other towns, because we're not looking to burden them, but we want to pay the building inspector And everyone, the fees should cover most of that. And we've raised them recently, and one of the things that ended up is that we got some high fees on agricultural buildings, which can discourage agriculture. And not a lot, I mean, they're going to
There's
build
also
anyway.
state law that protects agriculture, like if, for instance, this had moved forward without action, the town, the business, the farm business
Ag
can
markets.
actually appeal to the Ag and Markets Agricultural Protection Unit because over an issue of excessive fines, which I guess some local farmers contacted us about this. So it's in our interest also just to try to be in compliance with that. What you propose seems very reasonable.
So I would make the motion that we cap the building fee for agricultural buildings at $100 with a building permit, and recognizing that there's also a $50 fee for the inspection.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No,
Carried.
no abstentions.
I think there was clearly an oversight when we upped our fees, because we've always had, I believe in the past, I've always had a cap on it. I think it just got taken off when we did a fee update.
Yeah,
But I'll check with Sam.
I just want to put out the idea that I think all the fees should still be reviewed. I don't want to just address this one and leave it. I think there are others that should be addressed as well. And I don't know that anything will change, but for instance, I believe it's a machine inspection. I think it's what it's categorized as, like a furnace in your home. If you don't change any of the infrastructure, you have a chimney, vent, exhaust, whatever, the reason for the inspection is safety. But if none of that infrastructure is changed, it's just a furnace switch, it's, I think, $150, and there's really nothing to inspect. But, if somebody runs into a problem with a furnace and then has to throw on a $150 inspection fee on top of it, which really does nothing because nothing else was changed.
Yeah.
I don't, maybe it's state mandated, I don't know.
This will be part of the whole fee restructuring we take a look at when we talk to Sam about.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying,
Can we do a workshop or something?
Well,
We
that's what
can.
I'm thinking, that might be a
Absolutely.
good
It'd be
idea.
helpful, because I would like to understand,
Right,
obviously
right.
better myself.
And there's a slew of machine inspections as
sure,
well.
yeah.
So, I mean, that's just something that I think we could all relate to, is a furnace in our home.
That'd be maybe a good thing, another good thing to set up on a Thursday evening when actually Sam is here. We can sit there and talk to him for, a little while.
He's usually pretty packed though.
He is, but we do it, we'll have
Yeah.
to schedule it in, because he's busy with other nights too with the town,
Right,
so I mean,
right.
it'd make it difficult, but we
That's
definitely
true.
want his
That's
input.
true, yeah.
So, but yeah, we can set that up. Let me talk to him, see what the schedule looks like, if we can do other nights, if not, set it
Right.
for Thursday.
And I think I mentioned the shingles on your roof. I had no idea you needed a building permit to change shingles on your roof. But as Sam explained, that is to ensure that their asphalt shingles are disposed of properly. And again, I don't know what that building permit fee is, because I actually had got the permit for an extension on my roof.
Yeah.
So I paid for that, but if I were to just do my shingles, I have no idea what that fee would have been.
Now that I think about it, we may want to see what other needs is available, because it's going to take more than what he's doing on Thursday night, because he is
Yeah.
busy. So let me see
And
what his schedule
I don't
is.
believe anyone is aware of this, but Sam said it's New York State mandated, so.
Most
Not something I
most
was
people
aware
do
of.
not do it, and a lot of towns don't enforce it.
Right.
Because I do shingling also, I know, but it is technically supposed to be a
Right.
permit.
And a couple of years ago, Claremont had all the hail, a lot of roof damage. Nobody had a building, I think I was the only one. Because I had other work to do, I didn't have a problem with it, because when I was talking with Sam, I said, yeah, it's not just the shingles, I'm actually doing it. I said, otherwise I
our
wouldn't be
company,
here.
yeah, I think our contractor perhaps did it for us, but I think you're right.
No, I talked to my
It's very
contractor, he said, you don't need a permit. I said, yeah, my building,
It's quite a few
my
that don't.
code enforcement officer said I did. He's like, no, you don't.
Okay.
I said, I tell you what, I've got the building permit anyway.
Just put it up.
Yeah.
All right, so let me see what he's got available for time, what other evening we could get, maybe come in and we'll try to set something up.
Yeah, and maybe if, as a preemptive preparation on his part, maybe just sort of like the largest, I'm sure there are so many permits that are available, we don't really want to address what we've never really permitted before. So really make more common ones that we would want to address, because that's where all the fees are coming from.
Yeah, and just having him here to bounce questions off of and ask him, he'll be able to answer a lot of these questions right off the bat, so I think it's good to have him here and go over them. So.
Things that we don't even have in the town that would require a permit, and there's just no reason to discuss it. So that's why I thought if maybe preemptively you could really just prepare for what we give permits for.
Okay. All right. Let me see when he's available, and I'll shoot some dates around everybody, and we'll see what we set up for.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Purple Heart resolution.
We were approached by Debbie Curto, I believe is her name, from Daphne Jordan's office, who is our state senator, to become a Purple Heart community. Apparently this is an initiative, kind of a nationwide initiative, and they are spearheading it. I didn't know a lot about the Purple Heart. It said the Purple Heart is specifically a combat decoration and is our nation's oldest military medal. It was created by General George Washington in 1782 and was known as the Badge of Military Merit. It was first awarded to 3 soldiers in Newburgh, New York. The Badge of Military Merit was made of cloth, and it is the predecessor of the Purple Heart Medal. So she supplied us with 2 sample resolutions, and I compiled the 2 of them together. It really doesn't require us to do anything, except it's just really more of a recognition to the people who have the Purple Heart, and as Bob said, veterans in general. And although there is an opportunity that she did put in with this, that there was a company by the name of Max Performance Graphics and Signs, that we could contact them and we could get some signs to be put up that would cost approximately $100 if that was something that we wanted to do. And
I'd like to see a sample of that sign, what it would look like. And I was thinking, as I mentioned to you earlier, that it'd be nice to put, if we wanted to put one out on the road side or at the entrance of the park, but also one up by the Veterans Monument.
right.
And the other thing is, probably not suggesting that we should change this, but I think it would be nice somehow if we somehow in there could recognize all veterans as opposed to just the Purple Heart veterans. I don't know what everybody thinks about that.
Well, I think that's probably a separate issue. I mean, for what they're proposing with this, but I mean, this, certainly.
I mean, yesterday we celebrated the 77th anniversary of D-Day. And I was reading the article in there today, and I don't know if you've ever read the book The Longest Day by Cornelius Ryan. The longest day being D-Day. There were about 150,000 troops that went ashore on D-Day. They were brought over from Britain on 70 ships. And 5,000 of them were killed on that day. And there was quite a sacrifice. And I remember, as a little kid, I was about 5 years old, I remember World War II, a couple of things that I remember. First of all, there was rationing. I remember one day they were going to have butter at the supermarket. You could get a quarter pound. I went in with my mother, and there were 4 lines. My mother gave me some money. I think I was 5 years old. She gave me some money. She said, you stand in that line and get a quarter pound, and I'll stand in this line and get a quarter pound. We got a half a pound of butter. And they hadn't had butter in weeks. And there was a big sign that they were going to have it on this particular day. I know my father was in the Seabees. I had an uncle that was a navigator on B-17s over Germany during the war. I had another uncle that was in the submarine corps in the Second World War, and another uncle that was in the Marine Corps in the Second World War. And I lived with while my father was in the service for quite a while, I lived with my grandmother. My mother and I lived with my grandmother in the house with the grandparents, and there were 3 pregnant women living in that house at the same time. Husbands were all in service. And there was, there was quite a bit of sacrifice on the part of anybody at that time. Gasoline was rationed. That's when people started putting locks in their gas caps. But anyway, I don't want to belabor it, but it was.
Maybe we can do that during for Veterans Day, maybe the month of November, we can do a resolution recognizing our
Oh,
veterans.
yeah. I'd suggest if you can look into and find out what the signs
Yep, I
would
do
look
it.
like, and, if we don't like exactly what they have on the mock-up, we may be able to change, or maybe we'll like what it
Right,
is,
right.
and put one out that we're Purple Heart Town, and put one maybe up by the Veterans Monument up on the hill.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
I'm just curious, Don, do we have any Purple Heart veterans in Claremont?
I don't know, but part of it would be interesting to find out. I don't know if you've ever been upstairs in the community house, that we have scrolls that list all of the Claremont residents who fought in various wars, dating back before the Revolutionary War, right up to the Vietnam War. So I was wondering that myself, of how we could easily find out. I don't know if I could go over to the VFW or not, if they could help me fill some of that in. I know when Diane O'Neill was the town historian, she tried to do something to update the scrolls, and ran into some roadblocks because of privacy regulations that she couldn't get names of people.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure my grandfather had one of these Purple Heart.
Yeah. Well, I have actually, I don't remember what her last name was. Margaret Lemon lived in Tivoli. Your mom put me in touch with her, and she had, and I actually have them somewhere, index cards that they mailed out to people to confirm whether they were, I believe it was World War I, and one was, when I talked, it was your grandfather right there.
Grandfather, yeah.
Garrett
Stats.
Yes, Garrett Stats, yes.
I think he had Purple Heart. I'm sure he did.
And one of the Livingstons who lived in Northwood, one of the Robert Livingstons that lived there, we have the card from him as well, sending it back that he was in the military during World War
Well,
I.
it might be nice if we could find out that there were actually some, because we're saying we're a Purple Heart town.
Right.
The question brings that point up, can we be a Purple Heart town without having anybody that ever got a
Right,
Purple Heart?
right.
But
Yeah,
also it strikes me as being more meaningful if we did something for the actual individuals. Like if I had a grandfather and he was an awardee, like to have his name somewhere as opposed to just we're a Purple Heart town.
right.
Might
I
be a
think
good
we're
thing to ask,
referring to
like-
the members of the town, though. I mean, I've got family members I were, but they're not from Claremont. So
I did know
it'd be more
that.
Claremont.
The other thing, I remember my father sent, I've got copies of some of the letters my father sent home, some to my grandmother, some to my mother. And in one of them, he wrote that we get powdered milk, and we get one can of the 2.2, little alcohol beer every day. He says, when I get home, I want to get a refrigerator and fill it up with milk and beer. I'm not sure which I'm going to drink the most of.
I did notice on the way home from Albany yesterday that there is a sign at the entrance to Columbia County on 98989 that Columbia County is a Purple Heart County.
Oh, I never
Also.
saw that.
Oh, okay.
Where is it?
Right coming into Felicia, Kinderhook.
Oh, right there on 9H.
Where the lanes are double,
Right,
right
right.
after you come off.
I'll have to look.
Yeah.
I just
Right at the bridge.
All right, does
All right.
anybody have any objections to moving forward with this resolution?
I do not.
I think anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, carried.
I do want to find out if we have any Purple Heart people. I might just put it, we could always even just put some, an article in the newspaper asking people
Yeah, that's a
to
good idea.
identify
Mhm.
themselves.
Yeah, there's still remaining, that would be good to know, absolutely. Okay.
Yeah, we could put the article that we passed that
Right,
resolution,
right.
and So
One other thing that I had came up that I didn't put on the agenda was,
Like a number, like
without names there
Right,
before
right.
you're not doing a privacy, but if you.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, you might wanna
Request,
ask
you get-
them.
There are so many members of Plymouth that
Right.
were
It's a
partners.
good
Yeah,
idea.
and if you wanna put names, I would say ask the people if they are amenable to their name.
Right, right,
Mention.
yeah,
Or-
self-identify, right.
all right, one last thing I didn't put on the agenda was fuel oil for lock-in rate for the year. I finally got a hold of, they got back to me today, that's why I didn't get it until last minute. Valley Energies, we always buy, we've been buying it for several years, our oil, fuel oil, since we had that debacle with Costco that let us run out, never came for 5 days. Who continues to win the county bid. And I didn't confirm it this year, but I'm assuming they probably, they've won the bid the past 3 years. I'm assuming they'll probably win the bid again. So the county bid is usually what we would piggyback off of. They lock in a rate of 10 cents over top of rack price, so it's a floating rate. Could go up, could go down. Last year we locked in with Valley Energy like we've done the last few years because they've been very good to us when we had a problem with Costco. We ended up switching to Valley. This year their lock-in rate is $2.49 is what they're offering to the town. I know to individuals it's going to be much higher, but the town rate that they would go with is $2.49.9. I did ask him how long they would hold that rate for, and he told me probably about a week, so we can discuss it with the town board. So I don't know if everybody's comfortable with the $2.49. I have found other rates that were slightly lower and other rates that were slightly higher. It's right in the ballpark. To me, I would say this is what I would consider as best value. We can pick the company that we're comfortable with that gives us a decent rate, that gives us the best service. Because I'm not comfortable going back to the lowest rate, which would be Costco. Again, only if the rate stays low. If it goes higher, if we're locked in, we'll actually save money. But I don't think we're going to get. I'm not willing to roll the dice again on Costco because of the service we've received in the past. So to me, Valley Energy would be the most reasonable choice for us at $2.49.9 to lock in. For the
But
year.
we don't know for sure if the county rate is Costco this year, right?
We don't know for sure.
Right. So
I can check
what
that.
I'd suggest is that we, vote to approve and let the supervisor look into it, and if it is Costco or the rate looks like it's gonna be high, let him make the decision to lock in with Valley Energy. Valley Energy's been good over the last couple of years. right?
They've been very good as far as service, and the prices have always been right in line. Very comfortable with that company. But again, that's fine. I will confirm who the county bid is, and if it's not Costco, we can reconsider.
I think we did $1.99 with them.
I think it was $1.89.
$1.89.
$1.89. It was much cheaper, but the rates are much higher now.
Right,
Obviously, the gas
right,
prices are much higher. I believe they said it's going to be like $2.89 or $2.99 is going to be the regular rate to other people to lock in, but the town gets a cheaper rate.
I'm
So-
fine with that.
But I will confirm if the county rate is, county lock-in rate is with Costco, then I would, like I said, right there, should go forward with this.
The Valley Energy is the alternative.
Valley
They don't
Energy.
do a floating rate.
They do, that is available, you pay a higher rate, but it is floating. And I don't have that information because I didn't get that from them, but that is available. I think you pay an extra 30 cents a gallon or something. But if the price goes up or down, you get the lower rate. But it has to go down tremendously in order to save money because it's 30 cents more.
Right.
So you have to, has to.
So the
come
county
along.
bid, that 10 cents is obviously.
Is the
much
cheaper
better.
way to go for the county. But again, this past year when we were locked in, at one point the rate was a little bit lower, but then over the year it actually was higher than we were locked in. So it balanced out to where we actually worked out very fine. It gives us a budgeting number to stick with.
That's
So,
helpful too. Yeah.
but yeah, that's. Ray, don't leave. You're next. Good.
2 months in a row.
All right, well, I tried. But if that's okay with everybody, I'll verify the county rate, and then you're next. Does anybody have any objections with going forward with that?
No, I think with that provision, no, I'm good with that.
Okay, all right, very good. Supervisor report, I really don't have much to talk about as far as the supervisor report. I think we covered everything tonight. If anybody has any questions on county issues, they can contact me. I'd be glad to discuss anything and answer any questions. And let's move on to pay abstracts and we'll get public comment.
Make a motion, we pay trust and agency number 3, claim number 5, for $131.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Move we pay general abstract number 6A in the amount of $18,381.01.
Second.
Second by Chris, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I make a motion to pay prepaid general abstract number 6, vouchers number 134 through 136, and the amount of $196.21.
Second.
All in favor? Oh, second, you got a second, all in favor? I lost my place.
No, you
Aye.
were good.
Opposed? Carried.
And Tracy, the vouchers on this was 137 through 160.
I
I
make-
didn't say that one. when I made the motion.
I make a motion to pay highway abstract number 6, vouchers 46 through 54 in the amount of $40.22.
Second.
Second by Chris, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, public communications, public comments. Mr. Quintero, how are you?
Okay, Rick Quintero, thank you, board members. I was just wondering if you know, a couple of weeks ago, over in Saugerties, there's a dump there that kind of polluted the wells on about 60 families. Since that was recently. Just want to let you know that we also have our own dump. It's still there.
What's it
Another
say?
dump on the other side of town, 10.2 acres. It's still there, in 30 years, it's still polluting. I'm just wondering if kind of guys know what's there. And if you don't, you allow me to give a presentation, I can show you what's there, where it is, what's in it. I have all kinds of information. If you are willing to know that.
Well, unfortunately, you know, we've dealt with this over the years. The DEC is closed, they capped the site, they've closed the site, so they've said it's contained. There's not a lot we can do with that. There's no, you know, they can't disturb the ground, they can't do new construction on certain areas, and those restrictions.
What we have, and not only that, there's an application coming up on one of the lots. The 10.2 acres is split out to 3 lots. In one of the lots, AHG Properties, it's a corporation, they want to put some building there. And looks like they're very close to the dump, what the DEC is saying. I was just wondering if the members are aware that at least we have a dump on the other side of the town. And if you don't know anything about it, if you want to know more about it, just allow me to please show you what I have been cataloged for years. That's all I'm going to say. Thank you for listening.
You have,
Actually, if you want to get a hold of me, I do have an email, and it's called ClaremontDump@gmail.com.
ClaremontDump@gmail.com.
And I have all kinds of documentation of what's there in that dump. It is still active, it's still polluting, and it's going right to the Tivoli base. It's where that water is going. Actually, I did a calculation the other night. I was wondering how much water is actually coming out of there. And if we get 1 inch of rain, that dump gives out 29,000 gallons of water. And that's where it goes. In the back of it, it's a little stream. It goes through the town of Tivoli into Tivoli Base. That is happening right now. Just wanted to know about it. And thank you, Ray. Appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you for your concern and thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, any other comments?
Yeah. I just have a question, like a newbie government question. I was just wondering how, if somebody wanted to change the speed limit on a road that was in Claremont, is that something we deal with?
Here we go.
I'm just curious.
If it's a town road, it's fairly simple. If it's a county road, it's a little more involved. If it's a state road, it's almost impossible. So, it all has to go through the town, we can make a request, there has to be a speed limit, study done, speed test done. The county does that, and then, if it's a county road, they will make the determination what the speed limit is. If it's a town road, we can make a recommendation what we'd like. So,
Okay.
But the
Any-
county still controls it.
There were two.
any comments, request has to come to the town board.
Okay.
Did you submit those requests? Because there were two, I think, that came up at the last
We
meeting.
just did Hill and Dale
Just-
Road.
Hillendale and
uh,
Bug Creek, I think.
Oh, no,
Okay.
not yet.
All right.
It's in the process as of tomorrow.
Terrific.
The other one we just did was County Route 19. That has been completed. Remember, we did that one. Hillendale was the last request that has not been done. So yes. You have one in mind?
I'm just curious, so some of my neighbors on Lasher Road have been thinking that maybe 55 is too much, since there's so many homes and driveways along it, but it's, nobody's coalesced into like a, we're gonna go do this, because nobody knows what to do.
That is the county road down there, correct?
Yeah, I think it
It's
is,
county
yeah.
road, yes.
Part of it's in Dutchess County.
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes into Dutchess County as
Yeah.
well. So that's the hard part, is because, you couldn't change Columbia County and rather Dutchess County, you try to keep it the same.
Right.
So, that would be a little more difficult, but not out of the question.
Potentially we could change our side though, the Duchess would stay the same.
We could.
That'd be ridiculous.
We could. No, we could. It's been
Yeah.
done, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, but that's something the county would do a speed study on. They review it and see what they would recommend. And then they pass recommendations to us.
And the speed study looks at just like how fast people are going, or it takes
I
into
believe they
account-
look at the turns, the amount of the stretch of road, I don't know exactly what they're taking account for, but it's kind of a pattern there, not a pattern, a template that they use in the state. So,
Okay, cool, thank you.
if you put it in writing, send it to
Yeah.
us, we could consider it, we could put it in.
Okay. Thanks.
No problem. No?
What?
No other communication, no other comments? All right. If not, nothing else,
So moved.
move to adjourn. We got a move from Bob.
Second.
Motion, second from Dawn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
It's almost chilly in here now. We've been here so long.